Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Michael Sebastian and Dr. Nicole Sebastian say they have the panacea for all that ails us. I want to find out more. Dr. Nicole and Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Glad to be here.
Now, that's some claim, so you've got a lot to live up to, so I'm anxious to get into the questions and answers. And your book, Just Say Hugh, H-U, your book says that you can transform an individual in an instant. Tell us more.
Yes, indeed. As a psychologist, working with clients for 25 years, this is the first tool we share with the clients because it's so effective. And what happens, it affects your central nervous system instantly. And that's why it's so powerful. When you hew, it immediately aligns and harmonizes your cells, your atoms, and your subatomic particles. Remember the old days when we would give a tune-up to a car and we would change the spark plugs?
Yes.
So it runs smooth. That's what the hue does for our central nervous system, Bill.
Now, can you tell us some of the uses? I have down here insomnia, anxiety, but what would be other things where this may help some of the members of our audience?
Depression, suicidal ideation. You can use it for nightmares. And, when I was in Vietnam in the infantry, and when I got back, little did they know at the time about PTSD and the effects. And I had horrible nightmares, suicidal ideation every other day, depression, and I was going to go to the VA. And before that, I found the Hue, H-U, Hue, and I started reading about it and checking up on it and started doing the Hue maybe 15 to 20 minutes daily, every day, simply sitting and just a vibrational toning technique. And within a very, very short period of time, all my dramatic symptoms started to dissipate. They started to lessen, and eventually they simply went away. And that's when I knew I had found, we call it one magic word, because it actually works. It works quickly, and it doesn't take years of talk therapy. So, yeah.
Now, is this the word, you've expressed H-U, but if someone says, I was always told O-M, I guess that's Om, or if someone wanted to go boo, or whatever letters, the first two letters of their name, their last name, their dog's name, whatever, does it matter what the actual word is or combination of letters or syllable? Or should we, obviously you'd like us to stick to the hue, but is it the hue itself or any two letters that you put together?
Well, Bill, so glad you asked. It's actually the hue itself. We've done all of our research, and the hue stems from the Oxford English Dictionary for the word human. The word human actually means God-man, God within man. So when you hue, it takes you above the planes of duality. The right and left brain does a little combo. This is why it's so effective. And it's that actual vibration and tone from the hue that is so effective. So, the Om is effective, but it only gets you to the mental plane. So it helps the emotions and etc. But the hue, that's why we call it the universal panacea. It gets you above the duality and takes you to
another dimension, really. And Nicole calls them planes, and so do I, but they're also quantum physics refers to them as dimensions. And they've already theorized that there's probably at least 10, 11 different dimensions. And the hue takes you to that highest plane, quicker, faster, and it's extremely efficient. And it's got a whole history attached to it also.
Now, I was kidding you before the show. I said, now I'm sure that if I just go hue a few times, I'm going to run out after the show and get a lotto ticket. And we were kidding about that. But tell us some of the uses that people you've worked with, your patients and clients, that they've used this for and really seen significant results.
Okay, let's take addiction. I'm an addictionologist as well, and so working with addiction for decades, the clients, people want to quit smoking or bring down their methadone dose or get off their Xanax or what have you. And I tell people, don't change anything, just add the hue and see what happens. Just add the hue. And and this is what happens, in a week. And this, even NBC came in and did a whole thing, and they picked the clients. We didn't even pick them. NBC did. And they did a whole test on the hue. And in a 1 week, the guy's like, well, I'm not smoking as much. And the girl's like, I'm making all these connections and sleeping good and remembering my dreams and da-da-da-da. And, clients will come back and they're like, I want to bring down my methadone dose. And they've been on the same dose for 10 years type stuff. So it's most interesting when you just add the hue. You don't have the fight goes away, the effort. It becomes of your highest nature. It connects you with your higher self and not the little self, if you will, which is the ego that wants what it wants. And all these things. And by connecting with your higher self, your posture, it sounds silly. It does sound silly, Bill. It's like this word does all this, but it truly does. And it's the vibration and the history, back in Egypt, 5,000 years ago, they used to hew at the Sphinx from dusk until dawn as a society to raise the vibrations of the place. So, it's got quite a history to it and in its efficacy. And so, but back to the clients, road rage, and we call it in a pinch, hewing in a pinch. So when you have a moment, like you're in a business meeting and it's stressful, because the cool thing, Bill, most important with the hue, you can do it eyes open, eyes closed, out loud or silently. And it still works. So you could be doing the dishes and hewing. You could be in that business meeting. No one even knows that you're hewing because you can be done silently. So that's why it's like so user friendly. If someone's not even comfortable hewing, you know what, Bill? I do it silently more than I do it out loud, to be quite honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it.
And I love that part of it because I do a lot of walking, and I'm thinking if I go, a couple of neighbors are going to look at me. Some squirrels will come around me and say, he must be nuts. It must be good for us. But I really like that part of it. Now, for our audience, there's even a better advantage. Let me put it that way. When you hear this, if we saw it on late night TV or on a talk show, we would expect to see a little sign below, only this amount of money, and usually would have 3 or 4 digits in it to learn how to hew. Basically, you're teaching us today on the show. You have a book that's out, and pretty much as I understand it, that's the cost of hewing. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's free. It's free.
and it's priceless. It'll literally change your life, and they're really getting it for free. I've worked with professional sports people, and they were skeptical. Trust me. A professional basketball player played for the Lakers, actually, and he came in, he had a lot of problems. And I said, and I was a counselor teaching at college, and I was assisting him with coming back to get his MBA. And I said, so what's keeping you from doing this? And he said, well, I play professionally, Mike, and I have all my endorsements. I have a family. He said, I'm pretty freaked out, but I've always wanted to do it. It's been my dream. And so I shared the hue with him, and he bust out laughing and said, you're kidding me. I've got all the obstacles and you've got me humming. And I said, bro, do not knock it until you try it. And he said, hey, fair enough. About 3 weeks went by, a month, and I had to meet with him again to see how the MBA program was gone for him at night. And when I walked in just to tease him before he could speak, I said, have you been hewing? He said, Mike, have I been hewing? My family is hewing. He said, I shared it with the coach because my game went up so much. He wanted to know what I was doing for focus. And I shared the hue. So now the coach is hewing. So no matter how skeptical, it works, and people will run with it because of that.
Before I go into the next question, I'd like to let our audience know, if you're just tuning in and want to know more about this fantastic cure, let's call it that, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Dr. Nicole Sebastian and Michael Sebastian. Their book is Just say Hugh, H-U. And would you tell us, is there a website where we can learn more?
Oh, absolutely. And they can connect with us that way too. I'm thinking, Bill, yeah, they could go to onesteptherapy.com and they could either type in the word one, O-N-E, or just the number one. Both will get you there. Onesteptherapy.com. They can email us. They can sign up for our newsletter. We've got a free Dream Decoder mini course to get things rolling. All kinds of cool stuff. The do-it-yourself, book as well. So yeah, that'd be great.
Well, we're going to give that information again, and to our audience, if you didn't get it down, or if you think, you know what, this might just be the thing for my mom, my dad, my uncle, my sister, take the information down. You have nothing to lose. Remember the title of the book, Just Say Hugh, H-U. It's as simple as can be. It's something that it's not going to cost you very much at all. I mean, we're talking almost nothing compared to going to medical services or getting involved in different programs. And it can be a life changer. It might be your life that gets changed. Is this more of a distraction when we use it? Like, sometime a doctor will try to distract us if they don't want us to know we're going to get a little pain or a little prick on our finger from a blood test. Is this something to take our mind off what we're angry about if I want to throw a rock at my neighbor? Or does it really scientifically change the way we think?
So glad you asked, Bill. Actually, it's science-based. There's vibrational therapy, which works with vibrations. There's vibroacoustic therapy, which works with sound and vibration. The cool thing about the Hue, it's a combo of both. The vibroacoustic, the vibrational. Vibroacoustic, though, uses something outside of ourselves. It uses a pillow or a CD or a chair with sound. This is why the Hue, it changes us from the inside out, as opposed to using methodology from the outside to change us how we feel on the inside, whether it's a pill or, like I said, a CD or vibroacoustic apparatus of some sort. So it is truly not just a distraction. We've tested it with oximeter. The level of oxygen goes up just from hewing. Boom, from 82 to 96. One guy did not have his oxygen with him and he was freaked out. And his wife, this is a testimonial, and she's like, honey, just hew. And sure enough, we tested it with EEG, takes you right out of the beta to the higher states. And then the vibrational and field experience for 25 years. We're about to do a peer review study so it can get, credentialed in the books. So it's real exciting, and it is legit, Bill.
No, I can see the way you're talking, and what I'm impressed with, especially I'm impressed with a lot of this, and it's also new, it seems like there's medical and scientific proof behind it. It's just not something that, again, we take late night TV or an infomercial that says, if you do this, you're going to lose weight. Don't worry about what the doctor says. The governments don't want you to know this secret, blah, blah, blah. But you have the scientific proof from what you're saying behind it in terms of medical testing or the typical tests that we would take when we go to the doctor. These show different results when we're using this method of calming ourselves, I guess.
Absolutely. Pretty cool.
It really is. Now, yes, I'm sorry.
Here's an extra thing I wanted to throw in there, and it's really connected to quantum physics. And, a lot of people are going to go, what? Yeah, and I've been reading quantum for 20 years. I'm not a quantum physicist, but I know the concepts pretty well. And in quantum physics, they make the statement that everything is a vibration. That's all there is vibrations. It's a higher vibration, a different frequency. There's an infinity of frequencies. And when we hew literally at a vibrational quantum physics level, we retune ourselves from the inside out. That's why we have so many benefits so quickly. And the testimonials are infinite. People who couldn't sleep, insomnia. I've run into just about everybody's got a problem of some sort. And as soon as they hew, just before going to bed for a minute or two, it's the last thing you'll remember. You wake up in the morning and it's been really restful night.
Now, can you tell us if we're thinking of using this, and of course someone listening says, okay, I'm willing to try it. It's not going to cost me anything. Is this a chant? Do we just keep saying the word Hugh over or kind of drag it out to Hugh? Or is it a prayer? Or is it just something we say every once in a while like an affirmation?
You asked the best questions, Bill. Oh my gosh.
I got them all from your book. So
Here we go. There's 4 ways to do it. Okay. And really we call it an exercise or a technique, but hue. Okay. Hue. There's out loud. There's silent. There's the whispering hue, or you can spell it. I'll give you the demos. Out loud, hue, or silent. Okay. You just think it. All right. And then the spelling hue, you can spell it. H-U. And also the whispering, which sounds like the wind. And they can do it with their kids to help them go to sleep. Oh my God, with babies. Oh, whoa. And kids, it'll put them right to sleep. Oh yeah, for the parents out there. Oh, absolutely. One of the testimonials, she said, Nicole, it's like you gave me gold. She said, this is in the book, you gave me gold. I'm seeing night and day improvement in Tyler, and we've gotten sound sleep ever since. This was her newborn. It's like, whoa. Yeah. So
I'm going to tell you, I did use it the other night. And I did fall asleep. Now, I'm a good sleeper, so I'm not a good test case because typically I'd go to sleep pretty quickly anyway. But I said, I'm just going to try this. And next thing I knew, I was waking up. So it does seem to work. But again, I'm not the test case that in the scientific people would really want to, I guess you'd call it, use. Tell our audience some of the situations where people have used it, because I think as a layman, I wouldn't know enough of, I can use it if I have a problem. Maybe I'm angry because I didn't get a parking space or I didn't get a promotion at work. But what other situations that a lot of us face during the day, or maybe even pain or malady, or like, as you said, sleeping, a big thing for a lot of people. Where would this be used? And again, how should we, is it just saying it for 30 seconds or how?
Oh, yeah. Okay, up to 20 minutes a day, but no more. Up to 20. You could do 4 or 5 minutes. You could do 2 10s. You could do it when you wake up to start the day. You could do it at night before you go to bed. So depends on the person's lifestyle. Some clients do it while they're in the shower and some do it while they're driving to work. So it's really that user-friendly, best time for yourself, that it'll fit anytime. Now, ideally, the same time every day would be best. But in lieu of that, as long as we get some hewing in throughout the day, it will have an impact. And it builds on itself, just like building the bicep, Bill. So it builds on itself, and people they're going to know it, not because they read it or heard it or listened to us, but because they're going to witness it from within. They're going to go, holy Scooby-Doo, they weren't kidding. And so you talked about some more moments. Well, test taking for all of our students that are listening. Oh my gosh, test taking. It's phenomenal because you can do it silently while you're taking the test, but you can also do it before the test for those pre-test jitters. Okay. And remember, it connects the right and the left. So they're going to access their information much more readily for taking tests. So it's fabulous for students. Also, performance. They're about to perform, maybe in a play or acting or basketball, as Michael was mentioning, or gymnastics, performance. It's fabulous for performance. If you're going into a business meeting, that can give you some jitters, or maybe for a job interview. So there's really, any time is a good time, truly.
I'm just thinking, for a lot of us, the most threatening thing in life is being asked to give either a brief talk or a speech. Obviously, I'm a radio host. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you. But for a lot of people, I think they've said they'd rather go through a divorce or death rather than have to give a talk. Have any of your clients or patients used this and in that direction before they're giving a talk or a speech?
Let me give you a personal story. That's interesting you asked that question. A couple of years ago, I was in Mexico. I was invited down to a venue in Mexico, an expat venue down by Guadalajara. Deepak Chopra had just spoken there and other high-profile people. So there was 222 people there. They take a head count, and they're all sitting there, and suddenly it's quiet, and I realize I'm standing at the podium, and I'm getting ready to talk about dreams for an hour. And I had 6 pages of notes in my hand, and a wind came through and took all 6 pages, and they're floating on the air it went over there's walls wrapped around this speaking venue, and it went over the walls, and people went, "Sorry, Mike, your notes are gone." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God." And what I did, it came to me suddenly. I invited everyone to hew for a minute or two, maybe 120 seconds, 60 seconds. And I said, and I gave them a demo, and all 222 people started hewing for a minute. And the vibration of that hew changed my mental attitude. Suddenly, I was completely relaxed, in the flow, and it was one of the best received talks that I've ever given. And it was really due to the hew, because it changes that frequency from anxiety to one of complete within the flow.
Mike and Nicole, before we go further, again, I want to let our audience know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guests today are Dr. Nicole Sebastian and Michael Sebastian. Their book is Just Say Hew. And will you tell us the website where we can learn more?
Absolutely. OneStepTherapy.com.
And we'll ask you that again before the end of the show. I also want to let our audience know, if you're hearing the show and saying, "Oh, this is perfect for my sister or my neighbor or whoever," you can go to nccradio.org, nccradio.org, and simply look for Secrets of Success. Look for the show, Just Say Hew, H-U, and you can tell them, listen themselves. They can hear the entire show. If after that they want to go out and read the book, they can do that and make it a part of their life and test it. You have nothing to lose. What's the biggest question you get from people when they hear you're going to be speaking or talking about this? I guess, what do the doubting Thomases say, or what comes back to you?
Let's see. Probably. Well, is it really that quick? Is it really that quick? Yes. Does it really work that quick? And we were on Coast to Coast AM with George Nuri, and he had the callers, and one guy said, "I haven't remembered a dream in 40 years. We said, "Well, why don't you hew before you go to sleep? You'll probably remember a dream, you'll probably have," because we dream every night. But even if people don't remember, they think they don't dream, but we all dream every night. But anyway, and we said, and then email us and let us know what happened. Before we woke up in the morning, we had an email from this guy that hadn't remembered a dream in 40 years. He remembered a dream last night just from hewing that night. So that's how quick, because of that vibrational shift, that it changes and whoop, just connects you with your higher self. Like the best version of you, that's really your higher self. The best version of you that you can envision is your higher self, graceful and no addictions and serene and loving, this type of thing. And wise, it connects you with your higher self that way. So that's how all of these things kind of happen simultaneously. Real quick, Bill, I was vacuuming the other day. And I was thinking hew, right? I wasn't, silent, just thinking it. And it actually reminded me of two things I had forgotten that I needed to do. It said, "Nicole, you need to set this appointment and you need to reschedule that appointment." This is while I'm vacuuming. So it just taps in, or it allows you to access, rather, everything that's good, everything that's better, everything that you need to know. And it's that's why we call it the universal panacea. It's like a one-stop shop, like boom, everything in one.
And it teaches knowingness, just to summarize it. And when you hew, it's like turning the ignition on in your automobile. It taps you directly into intuition, because people say, "Well, how can I be more successful? I've done all my homework and the data, and I'm still trying. I still get blindsided sometimes. I invest in a stock and it goes south." What the hew does is it turns on that intuition, so you can use all your rational tools and data, but at the same time, you can use your intuitive abilities, and they will let you know whether to go forward with your venture or not.
Now, for our audience, again, if they're looking at this and saying, "Okay, I have nothing to lose, I'll try it," what is a fair test period, both for the subject matter and for the audience? If they're trying this, should they plan on doing it for 10 days, a month, a year? Like a diet. In fairness, if you just do it for 6 hours, you're probably not going to lose too much weight. It may require at least 15 days or 90 days, whatever.
Well, again, they're going to feel it within 24 hours, but a great test period is probably a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to see what's up. NBC, they did a week with their people when they picked 2 people. We didn't get to pick them. They picked them. And so that was pretty cool the way they did it. But they gave them a week. And so a week's cool, but your people are going to notice, your audience, within one day, they're going to go, wow, I can feel it. Wow, I slept for the first time. It even pulled my client. She had sleep paralysis, Bill. And our first session, and I shared the technique with her. And I said, listen, sleep paralysis, you're paralyzed. So you can't talk, you can't move. I said, I want you to think HU. I want you to think the HU. I said, it's going to pull you right out of your sleep paralysis. I bet you anything. And sure enough, then we talked. A few days later, she said, Nicole, since then I had 2 sleep paralysis episodes and I thought the HU and immediately pulled me right out of sleep paralysis, Bill. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. And again, I stress with our audience, I think, what did you say? 10 days would be a fair time? Is that the amount you gave us?
A week.
A week.
A week. Even better.
Yeah.
And I think you said 20 minutes a day for 7 days. That's asking for less than 2 hours of our time. And you're not asking us to lay out any money or give a credit card number or anything else. So if we want to try something, and if this works, even on some of the everyday things that each individual may be suffering from, whether it's more confidence at work, loss of a loved one, whatever, what do we have to lose?
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for this information. I want to ask you, before we wrap up, please give us that website one more time.
You got it. And Bill, they can go to onesteptherapy.com, and they can also go to justsayhu.com, come to think of it.
Okay.
And either way, it'll get you there. And they can send us an email or check out our books or what have you. So that'd be great. Just say HU, outside or out loud or silent, eyes open or closed, and see what's up.
And
experiment.
I guess our audience will know by the next episode, 1 week, 7 days of Secrets of Success, if this is working for them and if it's moving them in the direction they want to go. And obviously they can find out more from your book, Just Say HU, by our guest, Michael Sebastian and Dr. Nicole Sebastian. Folks, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having us. Really had fun.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. I'd like our audience to know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.